Legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed, breathing in through our noses and out through our mouths. Feeling the power of you controlling your breathing. Knowing, remembering, it's the same power we use to control our thinking. Now use that power. Use your determination to see in your mind today your best effort in all the exercises, stretches, movements we do here together. See it in your mind right now. See yourself doing the best you can, giving the best effort you've ever done for anything. Maybe you want to visualize the last time we did these exercises and stretches together. Go there and think right now about what you could do better or differently this time. It's the same process we use to grow our minds and grow the strength and health of our bodies and energy.
Do 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 do
This is that ice cold Michelle fight for that white gold. This one for them hood girls, them good girls, straight masterpieces. Stylin', wildin', living it up in the city. Got Chuck's on with Saint Laurent. Gotta kiss myself, I'm so pretty. I'm too hot. Call the police and the fireman. I'm too hot. Make a dragon wanna retire, man. I'm too hot. Say my name, you know who hallelujah. Girls hit you hallelujah. Girls hit you hallelujah. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Saturday night and we in the spot. Don't believe me, just watch. Come on. Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Hey, 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 oh! Stop. Wait a minute. Fill my cup, put some nigga in it. Take a sip, sign the check. Julio, get the stretch. Right to Harlem, Hollywood, Jackson, Mississippi. If we show up, we gon' show out. Smoother than a fresh drop skipping. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Call the police and the firemen. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Make a dragon wanna retire, man. I'm too hot. Hot damn. Bitch, say my name, you know who I am. I'm too hot. Hot damn. And my band bought that money. Break it down. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Girls hit you, hallelujah. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Cause Uptown Funk don't give it to you. Saturday night and we in the spot. Don't believe me, just watch. Come on. Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Hey, 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 oh! Before we leave, let me tell y'all a little something. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. I said uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Uptown, funk you up. Come on, dance, jump on it. If you sexed and flown it. If you freak dead and own it. Don't brag about it, come show me. Come on, dance, jump on it. If you sexed and flown it. Well, it's Saturday night and we in the spot. Don't believe me, just watch. Come on. Don't believe me, just watch. 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 Hey, 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 oh!
Sale la contra con este remate por arriba, viene, 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 viene. ¡Gol! ¡Gol! Gracias.
Guys, as we close off with Wayne Dyer and his wisdom, the last one I wanted to share with you is stop finding excuses. So this one is very, very challenging for us because many of us, including myself, including every single person, even the greatest thinkers, have been limited by the excuses that they have found for themselves. We have conditioned ourselves. If we can accept the bitter truth that we have allowed things that have happened outside of us to affect us on the inside, then we can really begin real change. But it's very difficult, and you have to stop making excuses. It's a difficult one, but if you stop making excuses, You now empower yourself to make changes with that power that you have, with that space between that stimulus and response. So between what happens outside and what you choose to do on the inside. Have a great morning, everyone.
I hope today a lot of what I share is common sense, but we all know it's not always common practice, and that's why so many relationships fall apart. So, simple one. First, double side of the coin. We all know these two rules, right? One is put the relationship first, right? We all heard that before. And this is Denise's, I'm going to combine two of hers together right here. One is put the relationship first. But the flip side of that coin is you must grow and be independent and be striving to be your best in and outside of the relationship. Otherwise, if you aren't growing, the relationship becomes stagnant. And so it's interesting. That's that interdependence, independence thing that makes all these relationships so dang hard, right? Is because, yes, you want to pour yourself into your partner and your spouse and support them and cheer them on and make decisions just for the relationship. And we all have the individual spirit that wants to manifest and reach our own full potential. And how do we do those two things in union and alignment? We're going to talk a lot about that today. Our first teaching today, let's jump in. Our first teaching today is that simple understanding there's two sides of a coin in a relationship. There's relationship first, and there is grow and reach your potential independently as well. That interdependence, independence. You must recognize the push and the pull of that and be attentive to that at all times to have a great relationship. I would argue that almost 90% of conflicts in relationships are actually not about who cleaned, the kitchen. It's not about, the finances or this kid didn't do that in the household. No, what it usually tends to be is a push and a pull between interdependence and independence, and the couple's not understanding that duality and not mitigating for that duality. And so one person's like, relationship first, we should do everything together, we should be on the same page, it should be perfect together. And relationship first also, though, means, hey, when you're making decisions about your life, make it please in the context that we have chosen to live life together. Who's ever had a relationship where the person was completely oblivious to this idea of make the relationship first, right? It was probably miserable for you. It was like, this person doesn't prioritize us. And I believe that one thing has really helped us, me and Denise in our relationship, is honestly, she defaults to that. She is so good and bringing me back to that too, that it's about us. We plan together. We have to have the journey together. Don't just go do these things. Think about how does that impact us, our life, our family. And she's really just good at that. And I believe that's what has taught me to be a better man, I hope, in the relationship that we've gotten, more and more years into our relationship together. I think that is really powerful. How do you put your relationship first? You always make decisions within the context of realizing you're in a relationship together. Like obvious, right? And it doesn't mean you can't have independent decisions. It means those decisions still take place in understanding the effects and the consequences of your actions within the relationship. When we forget there's consequences of our actions within a relationship, the relationship inevitably becomes something separate than us. And when this relationship is separate than us, they feel a separatedness. And the more your partner feels a separateness in the relationship, the more that relationship struggles. This is why you hear people say, make decisions together, plan together, know what you're both working on together. That's the idea of relationship first. It's, right, I have a life partner. That means I do life with my partner. So when I plan things in my life, I think about my partner. And that simple reminder, I know not all of you need, but you've been in relationships where that was not true. And if you have been, you know what I'm talking about in that separateness. You don't feel like you really know the person, or you feel like they don't value your opinion. You feel like they, are living their own life and they don't care about you or the effect on your family. And so it's so important for us to always remember, all right, when I think about relationships, I always think about the coin, I call it, the coin. Interdependence, independence, relationship first. Okay, got it. And the opposite side, which so many people naturally gravitate towards and know, especially even a growth day community like this, which is you must continue improving yourself and fulfilling yourself if that relationship is going to come into a true, deep, meaningful, fulfilling relationship, right? If you're stagnant, don't get mad that the relationship is stagnant. If your partner is stagnant, meaning they're not growing, they're not stretching themselves, they're not trying to learn about their mindset or their effect of energy on other people, or to become more productive towards meaningful pursuits that matter to them, well, then what happens? It's like you're growing and you're extending, but they are not. Who's ever been there? That's super hard. Now, the challenge is you can't, if relationship first is one side of that coin and growing is the other, and you happen to be the person on that coin, you're growing, and you don't sense that they are. Because relationships are first, you also cannot be bitter towards them, hate them, be jaded about it, because there's probably been points in your life where you weren't growing at your potential either. And what is the thing between, what is the material, I call it, between the coin? Interdependence and independence. What's the material? Right? If you have a penny, you know that the material is copper, right? In between, right? What is the in between? Here's my philosophy. The in between, the stuff of the coin, is called grace. Grace. If two people are going to come together and it's going to work out, there's got to be grace between them. Grace when you're growing and they're not. Grace when they're growing and you're not. Grace when they're struggling and you're doing great. Grace when you fall a little bit away from each other. And without that, it's really hard to keep that coin unified and valuable, if you will. And so I want to begin today with a simple idea. I know, after teaching about relationships literally for 15 years, and I've been blessed to coach some of the highest level couples in the business world and some of the highest level Olympic couples. I've worked with couples in every possible scenario that you can imagine, from new parents to people who've chosen not to have children, to people who are just trying to finally create depth and meaningfulness in a new relationship. I can share you, 15 years of coaching, you have to imagine every conversation or every other conversation brings up a relationship that somebody is in. And what I have seen over and over and over again, when either teaching or coaching on relationships, is your, or the listener, the student's immediate impulse to judge the other person. So as I'm teaching today, it's very easy. My husband, he's like this. My wife, she's like that. And you're immediately, as soon as I start teaching about something, you immediately cast the other person as the wrongdoer. And if we're going to explore relationships today, no, the material in between interdependence and independence is not wrongdoer. It's grace. If you want the relationship to improve, if you want the relationship to deepen, if you want that thing to feel better, no bitterness here, no judgment here. I always say, judge less, feel better. Okay, let's not judge our partners or spouses here. Let's educate, let's learn, let's explore how we think. You can't control them. Maybe you're lucky and they're watching with you. And if you're watching this as a couple, make sure you put that in the chat and get some recognition and celebration that that you're participating as a couple here. I think that's super awesome. I think that would be amazing. And so some of you are doing that. That's great. But if your partner or spouse isn't here with you right now, don't make this a judge session on them, even if you're in turmoil, even if they feel separate, even if you're fighting. I want you instead to say, let me explore my relationships with openness and grace. Let me be accountable for my stuff, think through my stuff, and not make this a session of they're bad and they're the wrongdoer. Because I promise you, as soon as you make your partner or spouse the wrongdoer, life gets hard. That relationship struggles. And so I want to start with laying this idea onto you of the coin. Interdependence, independence. Relationship first, grow so you don't stagnate. And as you have that difficult duality sometimes, in between what makes a relationship work is grace. That means understanding, compassion, forgiveness, openness to the other and their life amid your relationship. I hope that helps.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got and don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too hot. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too hot. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too hot. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
Yo, DJ Rafi.
Richarlison. Oh, that's fantastic. Memorable second from Richarlison. Doubles Brazil's lead.
Good afternoon, guys. When you start to believe and live with determination of the truth of who you really are, that you are more powerful than you can ever begin to imagine, when you start living that truth, you will realize how important every decision you make is. So I want you to try that now, wherever you are. Once this video is over, let's see the power of that. Let's see the power of that claim. And what I want you to do is the first negative thought that may enter your mind when this video is done, I want you to examine very carefully what part of that thought is under your control. And I'm sure most of you will realize that it's all under your control. So more specifically, what can you do with that thought? What's the positive aspect? What's the part that you have control over in the situation that may be negative? Hope this helps everyone. Have a great afternoon.
See, in 1990, Joel Barker wrote a book. It's called Paradigms. He said to be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm. Now, I had no idea what a paradigm was. And you might ask yourself, do you really know what a paradigm is? Do you understand how the mind works? Because the paradigm has something to do with the mind. I knew nothing about it. And the man that encouraged me to study this put me on a track where I just kept going from one great mentor to another. A paradigm is nothing but a multitude of ideas that are fixed in the subconscious mind. And so here we are, as hard as it is to believe, 20, 30, 50, 60 years later, school gave us valuable knowledge. However, school never taught us anything about paradigms. Therefore, we frequently do not do what we already know how to do. Now think, superior knowledge, think about it. Inferior results, what does that do? That causes confusion and frustration. Now think about this for a moment. We've gathered great knowledge, but we know nothing about the paradigm. So watch here. Here's the drawing. There's the model. There's all the knowledge we got in school. We've got it packed in there. But you know something? It doesn't equate to the results we're getting. You're going to find absolutely brilliant people getting very bad results. You're going to find people that are brilliant. They know exactly what to do, but they don't do it. Why? It's the paradigm that controls the behavior.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because I need them, because I want to wake up every single day and get pushed by somebody who's doing a lot more than me. And in watching their videos, it inspires me to be bolder, to have more courage, and to go chase down the life of my dreams. And I hope it does the same for you. So today, let's get some incredible motivation from the one and only Bob Proctor. Enjoy.
I want to talk to you about money, about earning more money. And I don't care what profession you happen to be in. It really makes little difference as far as the subject is concerned. I have learned, this is an educated opinion, it's something I've learned over a long period of time, that the earning of more money is only about 5% strategy, 95% mindset. Now, why do I say that? Well, I was given this book when I didn't have a nickel to my name, Think and Grow Rich. My life has changed dramatically since then. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Then I got a hold of Robert Russell's book, You Too Can Be Prosperous. Here's an original copy from 1915 of Wallace Wattles' book, The Science of Getting Rich. Now, The Science of Getting Rich is the book that inspired Rhonda Byrne to make The Secret, which has been seen over 500 million people all over the world. And you know, none of these books spend much time talking about money. They almost spend all of their time talking about you, the reader, and your mindset. You see, I know a lot of wealthy people. I have earned millions of dollars in my lifetime, and not by accident, and it's not that I was done well in school. I went to high school for 2 months. And I've met many people who have earned millions of dollars who have no formal education. Earning a lot of money is not luck. Earning a lot of money is really getting your mindset. You've got to know your worth and then ask for what you deserve. Hill points out in here, he said, if you believe hard work and honesty alone will bring riches, perish the thought it's not true. Riches, when they come in huge quantities, are never the result of hard work. Now listen carefully. Riches come, if they come at all, in response to definite demands based upon the application of definite principles and not by chance or luck. Yeah, you've heard the old saying, find a need and fill it. A definite demand. And then based upon definite principles. Well, these 3 books that I've just recommended, and I've got a whole library of them behind me, they all focus on filling a demand. So you've got to start off by knowing what you're worth. Eric Hoffer put it very well. He said, to learn, you need a certain degree of confidence. Not too much and not too little. If you have too little confidence, you'll think you can't learn. If you have too much, you'll think you don't have to learn. Now, I run into people every day who fall into both of those categories, and I suppose we all fall into both those categories more often than we'd like to. We've got to have that certain degree of confidence. Know what you're worth. And always be prepared to do more than you're being paid for. Now, that is one of Hill's principles. Always be prepared to do more than you're being paid for. And be prepared to walk away from anything that is not serving you. Now, you've got to provide the service, but if the job is not serving you, or if something is not serving you, walk away from it. And make up your mind you're going to be a leader. You see, money is a reward received for service rendered. Be prepared to do more than you're being paid for. That is something that all successful people will tell you. Fall in love with what you're doing. Fill the demand. But build the image in your mind that you're worth it. Know what you are worth. You are God's highest form of creation. There is nothing on the planet that will equal you. You might get a hold of these 3 books and study them. The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. You Too Can Be Prosperous by Robert Russell. Those books are both out of print, but you can find them. And of course, the one that's always on my desk, Think and Grow Rich.
What are some habits that you do differently that maybe are unexpected in the personal growth space?
I study every day. Every day. I've studied every day now for 60 years. I started to study this book in 1961, and I read it every day. Same book, Think and Grow Rich. I have just here behind me, I've got the Laws of Success, the original ones that Napoleon Hill wrote in 1928. And then he came out with this in 1937. And the man that gave it to me, he said, if you'll study this every day, he said, you're going to have a wonderful life. And he pointed out Napoleon Hill spent his whole life studying the lives of 500 of the world's most successful people. He was mentored by Andrew Carnegie, who at the time was the wealthiest man in the world. And he said, since he spent his whole life putting this together, he said it would be a prudent move on your part if you spent the rest of your life trying to understand and apply what he was teaching. And,
right.
You know, that just seemed to make some sense to me, and that's what I started to do, and I've never stopped. When you change your perception, you change your life. Think of this. How many different ways are there to look at how you can live your life? And think of the number of people that are saying, I'm so sick of living the way I'm living. Change it. You can change it. There's a million ways you can live. We're God's highest form of creation. All the little creatures out there are completely at home in their environment. They blend in. They operate by instinct. We don't. We've been given higher faculties. We're totally disoriented in our environment because we can create our own environment. My goodness, when it comes to earning money, it's a piece of cake. Now look at. Man's mind stretched to a new idea never goes back to its original dimension. Oliver Wendell Holmes said that. A number of people actually said that. When you stretch your mind to with an idea, you'll never go back to its original shape.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
We have the
You ready? I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
Let's go!
We shake it off. Now turn around. We don't let no bad vibes get in our way. Put your hands up in the air. When we dance, we don't care. Wave left, now right. Then turn around and one more time.
Shake it off, turn around. Don't let bad vibes get you down. Put your hands up, wave left to right. Then bring it all back to the other side. Shake it off, turn around. Don't let bad vibes get you down. Put your hands up, wave left to right. Then bring it all back to the other side.
Shake it up, turn around. Don't let bad vibes get you down. Put your hands up, wave left to right. Then bring it all back to the other side. Shake it up, turn around. Don't let bad vibes get you down. Put your hands up, wave left to right. Then bring it all back to the other side. Some days you'll feel like you're on top, but some days go down like a big old flop. But I know what to do when I'm feeling blue. I just gotta feel the groove. Don't care what others say. No one's gonna ruin my day. Put a smile on, don't be shy. Begin to dance, it's worth a try.
Shake it off, turn around. Don't let bad vibes get you down. Put your hands up, wave left to right. Then bring it all back to the other side. Shake it off, turn around. Don't let bad vibes get you down. Put your hands up, wave left to right. Then bring it all back to the other side.
Shake it up, turn around. Don't let bad vibes get you down. Put your hands up, wave left to right. Then bring it all back to the other side. Shake it up, turn around. Don't let bad vibes get you down. Put your hands up, wave left to right. Then bring it all back to the other side. We shake it off. Now turn around. We don't let no bad vibes get in our way. Put your hands up in the air. When we dance, we don't care. Wave left, now right. Then turn around and one more time.
Shake it off, turn around. Don't let bad vibes get you down. Put your hands up, wave left to right. Then bring it all back to the other side. Shake it off, turn around. Don't let bad vibes get you down. Put your hands up, wave left to right. Then bring it all back to the other side.
Shake it up, turn around. Don't let bad vibes get you down. Put your hands up, wave left to right. Then bring it all back to the other side. Shake it up, turn around. Don't let bad vibes get you down. Put your hands up, wave left to right. Then bring it all back to the other side.
Shake it off,
Turn around.
put your hands up, wave left to right. Turn it around. Shake it off, shake it off, shake it off, shake it off.
Now turn around. We don't let no bad vibes get in our way.
Hij is links. Hij is heel links. En hij is heel links. Oh, mooi. Pinto met een schitterende goal. Waarbij hij toch al een aantal keer...
Good evening, guys. I want to share with you today, as we live, laugh, and love our way to infinite mind wealth, a thought about being a parent. And the reason why I want to use this example is to highlight how powerful our emotions are. Our emotions are energy. So I want to give this personal example. There's been a time, or many times, when I'm asking my children to do things that I know they need to get done. And they may not listen at first, and they're continuing on that path. And then I'll get to a point where I have built up anger, negative emotion, to the point where I raise my voice perhaps and show that definiteness of purpose to get them to do what I'd like them to do. And sure enough, it gets done. So what is it? And I'm not suggesting that we should yell or be angry with our children or with anybody. But what I'm suggesting is that power of that energy of emotion, if we channel it and use it the right way, that's our power. We can do anything great that we want to do. Have a great evening, everyone.
95% of who we are by the age of 35 is programmed. Is that true?
I think if we define a habit as a redundant set of automatic, unconscious thoughts, behaviors, and emotions that's acquired through repetition. A habit is when you've done something so many times that your body now knows how to do it better than your conscious mind. Then it's programmed subconsciously. So then when the body knows how to do it better than the conscious mind, then for the most part, the greatest habit we have to break is the habit of being ourselves, right? So there's a principle in neuroscience that says that nerve cells that fire together wire together. If you keep thinking the same way, if you keep making the same choices, if you keep doing the same things, if you keep reproducing the same experiences and feeling the same emotions, your biology begins to become hardwired in a sense. It becomes programmed.
Need motivation?
Watch a Top 10 Rules video with the Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because I need them, because I want to wake up every single day and get pushed by somebody who's doing a lot more than me. And in watching their videos, it inspires me to be bolder, to have more courage, and to go chase down the life of my dreams. And I hope it does the same for you. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and my take on his top 10 rules of success. Enjoy.
In order to change something, to arrive at a new vision of your future, if you wanted to arrive at a new goal or new vision of your future, you'd have to change something about yourself in order to get there. And you'd have to change the way you think, the way you act, and the way you feel. When you begin to become conscious of those unconscious thoughts, so conscious that you don't let them slip by your awareness unnoticed or unchecked by you. If you catch yourself speaking in a limited way, or you become conscious that you're behaving in a certain way, in a habit, and you can notice or pay attention to how you're feeling, then you're no longer the program. Now your consciousness observing the program, you're only unconscious when you're in the program, and so to change then is to become so conscious that you don't go unconscious again. And in a sense, that is consciousness that is really the puppet master that really decides who we want to be. I think the biggest problem is that people lose their free will to a set of programs. And so their body is basically programmed into a predictable future based on what they've done in the past. So to change that habituation takes an enormous amount of energy, an enormous amount of awareness.
Rule number 2 is work on yourself.
The best thing we could ever do for the world is to work on ourselves. I mean, we have 3 brains in one, and those 3 brains allow us to go from thinking to doing to being. The thinking brain is the neocortex. That's where we learn information. You learn knowledge, you learn semantics, you learn philosophy, you learn intellectual data. You store that in your thinking brain. Now, it's not enough to just learn that information. You have to actually apply it. You have to demonstrate it. You have to get your body involved. And when you go from thinking to doing, and you actually modify your behavior, now you're going to have a new experience. And that new experience is going to make a new emotion. And that new emotion is going to instruct the body. It's going to teach the body what the mind has intellectually understood. You see, knowledge is for the mind and experience is for the body. Getting people to go from thinking to doing is like herding cats, because everybody wants to stay in the intellectual realm. No one wants to get their body involved. Everybody wants to be a philosopher, right? And so, if you're going to read the book on peace, if you're going to read the book on global warming, if you're going to read the book on economics or a new way to govern, you can't just read the book. You got to now get out there and demonstrate it. You got to demonstrate peace. You have to be peace. And it's not enough to just do the experience once. You can't have an experience where you read the book on peace and then you go and you experience peace one time and say, okay, I get the Nobel Peace Prize. You got to be able to repeat that experience over and over again. And you got to make it look natural and easy. And when you do, you activate that third brain. And that third brain allows us to be in a state of being. See, when we're in a state of being, that's when mind and body are working together. And leaders, great leaders, knew how to do that. They weren't saying one thing and doing so, their body was doing something else. Their mind and body, their intention was aligned to their behavior. And their behavior was equal to their intention. Their thoughts and actions were working together. And when that happens, we move into a state of being. Now imagine a world of people demonstrating peace. So you can meditate in a city. And there have been experiments that show that the crime rates drop when the meditation is in process. But when that experiment ends, the meditation returns, the crime rate returns back to the ceiling value when the meditation is over. So it's not enough to just think it, but imagine now if people were actually demonstrating peace and actually demonstrating they were the living example of it. You would have thousands of people in a state of being it. So when the mystics talked about being it, it wasn't enough to just say, you can think about it. You have to actually embrace it. It's got to be visceral. And you have to memorize that emotional state so great, with such intensity, that nothing from your external world will move you from it. That's when we've mastered that state of peace.
Rule number 3 is be conscious.
In order for us to change, the first step is to become conscious of our unconscious thoughts.
It's not just willpower.
No, will exists in the conscious mind, but we have to go into the operating system where those programs exist. Right, so when you begin to become aware of your unconscious thoughts, you begin to notice your automatic behaviors, and you begin to pay attention to how you're feeling. That fact in neuroscience is called metacognition. The fact that you can observe who you're being means you can modify your behaviors, modify your state of being to do a better job in life. And so that's a skill. That level of awareness is a forebrain activity. And we can teach people how to do that. So when you begin to look at those states of mind and body, it begs the question, if you're observing the program, it means you're no longer the program. You're the consciousness observing the program. And you begin to objectify your subjective mind. You become more conscious. And consciousness then, of course, is what really is the first step to change.
Rule number 4 is master your emotions.
If you can turn on the stress response just by thought alone, by thinking about your problems, and that's the truth, you can become addicted to your own thoughts. And if the long-term effects of the hormones of stress push the genetic buttons that create disease, your thoughts can make you sick. And then the question is, if your thoughts could make you sick, can your thoughts make you well? And we're actually discovering that that's absolutely possible. So then, teaching people then a little bit about how to manage their emotional state and to self-regulate, I think is a great gift for people, because when they begin to break an addiction to any emotion or the conditioning of any emotion, there's going to be cravings that go on just like any addict there, and many people overdose and many people have bad trips. And so when they start changing and the body's craving those familiar emotions, the body starts signaling the brain, of memories, or to think certain ways and to make certain choices, do certain things, crave certain experiences just to feel that same emotion. And people say, well, this feels right. No, that feels familiar. That really feels familiar. And many people will tell the story of why they feel that way based on some past experience. And it's usually not in the recent past. It's usually many years ago.
Like a toxic relationship or something.
Whatever that is. And so they're basically saying, I had an event in my life, and since that event, I'm still living by the same emotion and I haven't been able to change. And they'll tell the story of that past. And in psychology, the latest research on memory shows that 50% of that story isn't even the truth. They're making it up because they don't have the same brain as they had then. And so then people are reliving a miserable life they never even had just to excuse themselves from changing. And they embellish the stories so that it sounds really hard to change. So what is that point then for a person when they say,
The only person that this emotion of hatred or anger or frustration or resentment, the only person that this is hurting is me. Because those chemicals are downregulating genes and creating disease. And a person finally really realizes that, and they really decide to change. When they overcome the emotion, the memory without the emotion is called wisdom. And that's the name of the game in three-dimensional reality. Now they're ready for a new experience. It's not reliving the past. You don't need to. You don't need to talk about it. All you need to do is overcome the emotion. When you overcome the emotion, you're free from the past. You can see it from a greater level of consciousness. And that's when a person, so many times when they truly change, they'll say this. We've seen it over and over again. They reach that point where they finally break through, and some of them have had some really difficult pasts. They'll say, I would not want to change one thing in my past because it brought me to this moment. That's the moment the past no longer exists. And they can look at their betrayers and see what all had to happen for that moment. And now they're free. They no longer belong to the past, they belong to the future.
Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there. Rule number 5 is expand your awareness.
The three-dimensional.
And here we are again. Legs crossed, back straight, eyes closed, deep breaths in through our noses and out through our mouths. The way we began. The way it all begins, always. Always with our thoughts. Our powerful minds, which are always subject to our control, no matter how hard it's been to control them. We know the truth, don't we? We saw it today in our effort. We see it every day in life, in the gym of life. We know that we have the power to determine what thoughts we will act upon, and therefore we also have that power to determine what feelings we will allow to flow out and through us. Because our feelings are ultimately connected to our thinking. And if we control our breath with our thoughts, we can always control our thoughts and therefore our feelings. To learn and to grow and to be mind healthy and mind wealthy, peaceful, kind, loving, free and successful in whatever we do, wherever we are, no matter what. That's why we are already, whether we know it or not, determined nation. A people, a nation that always has the power to determine, to think, and to be positively, undoubtedly, unwaveringly loving